Welcome back to Talking Wolves, folks. We've got a brand new transfer video for you today, and Wolves look likely to be signing Chiquinho, the Portuguese winger, currently from Estoril over in the top flight of Portugal. Today's video, we're going to be giving my thoughts on it, how the news came about, and we're going to be speaking to Aaron from Proxima Jornada to learn a little bit more about the 21-year-old. As always, guys, be sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. But news broke very late Friday night, early Saturday morning from Portuguese sources Record and Arbola that Wolves were going to be signing Chiquinho and he was going to be on his way to Wolverhampton this week. That was quickly followed up by Pedro Sepulveda, who is an extremely reliable source over in Portugal, and he gave us more details on the move. He said that it's going to be a 3.5 million euro pound move plus 1.5 million euros in add-ons. Personal terms are to be agreed until 2026, and Wolves will get the option of an additional year on that as well. Chiquinho and his representatives are due in Wolverhampton tomorrow, which is Monday the 17th, hopefully for his medical. So the move could be announced as early as tomorrow. I'm going to be really interested to see how he fits into this team. I would love to see him in and around the squad because, you know, we aren't exactly gifted with depth at the moment. And from what we've seen, what we've looked at, he looks a player that I'm actually quite excited to see wear a Wolves shirt and see him at Molineux and see what he can do. I know rumours today, or, you know, there was an article in the Express and Star thinking that due to our attacking depth or players that are due to come back, maybe a loan isn't out of the question. But for me, I would keep him in and around the squad unless that loan is for him to go back to Estoril. I don't see the benefit in him going elsewhere, whereas he's got to adapt to somewhere else. I think he should be staying at Wolves just for this 6 months, get him used to the environment, get him used to the first team, give him a little bit of first team action, and he can really knuckle down for next season then as well. In terms of how he's got on this so far this season, he's been pretty much with the Estoril first team for the majority of the season, not starting every single game, but having a really good amount of minutes. If we look at his performances in the league and the Portuguese Cup, which is the Taça de Portugal in particular, he's played 999 minutes of football, so just under 1,000 minutes of football. Scored 4 goals in those 2 competitions and got 6 assists, which of course gives him a 10 goal contributions in that time. So he's getting a goal contribution every 99 minutes to 100 minutes of football, which I think for a young player, first season at a top level of football, is a very, very decent return. So I'm looking forward to it. He's played a mix really of on the left wing and the right wing. I think that's perfect for Bruno Lage and how he plays. You know, it's very flexible, very versatile with the wingers that we've got so far. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. Playing for the Portugal under-21 side. But I did speak to Aaron earlier on from Proxima Jornada to get his thoughts so we can learn a little bit more about the player and what Wolves fans can expect if the signing of Chiquinho goes through as planned. So everyone, delighted to be alongside Aaron from the Proxima Jornada page. Aaron has been on the channel before, follows a lot of Portuguese football, and he was actually on our video when we welcomed Bruno Lage to the club. But on today's video, Aaron's going to be telling us a little bit more about Wolves' imminent signing of Chiquinho. Aaron, first of all, mate, been a few months since you've last been on the channel. How are you?
Not too bad. Yeah, it's been a while, but looking forward to this one. Really enjoyed it last time.
Yeah, I know. And obviously, the rumours have come out. It's come around really quick, actually. I think it was in Record and Arbola yesterday morning that the Chiquinho signing was happening. And then you said to me, well, there's one journalist you want to keep your eye out for, which he then posted it. So we knew it was going to be a done deal. And people have asked us, you know, to do a video to learn a bit more about it. And I thought I'd ask you and get your thoughts on him. So Chiquinho, tell us a little bit more about him. What's his career like been so far?
Yeah, Chiquinho, he's young. He's 21. I think he's 22 next month. Born in 2000. He's played quite a bit of football so far. I think one thing that I like about his career is that he hasn't went straight into senior football. Last season, he balanced his football between the under-23 side at Estoril and with the first team, rather than playing in a set for a second division team like the B team. The under-23 league is just against other teams who are also under-23. So playing sort of 1 week with that side and then playing another week with the senior side, I think give them a different taste of football each week, and learning all the time, taking the things from playing with the senior players that obviously are higher caliber. That was in the second division, and then taking those things, and he performed really well with the under-23 side. And then obviously now this season he's a fully fledged senior player, plays just with the first team. But I like the way that Estoril as a club have handled him. But that's pretty much been his career so far. He spent the majority of his youth career with Sporting. He was there for like 10 years, and then went to Tondela, which again I think was important for him, because at a big club, even in the academy, they've always got the best players, and obviously at Sporting they're one of the biggest clubs in Portugal. So he's playing sort of week in, week out with the majority of the possession, defensively not having to sort of focus or switch on that much. Then moving to a club like Tondela, even playing for the under-18s, a lot less of the ball, having to be a bit more clever, a bit more intelligent when he's got the ball in terms of his decision making. So, as I say, I find with a lot of players that are in one of the big clubs' academy right up until they're senior, when they do move on to a side that plays a little bit without the ball, they can struggle. But I think, Tondela, I think in that season he played as an under-18, they were maybe in the bottom 3, bottom 4, playing against the likes of Porto at the time had. That was the side with Fabio Vieira, Vitinha, Fabio Silva, that side. So regularly going into those games knowing that it was going to be a bit more difficult. And then Estoril is the same. They're punching well above the weight this season, but he's been a large part of why.
I was going to say, they've had a fantastic season. There were some people that I know of that thought they were still in the division below. They thought they were 6th in the second division, but they're doing really well. Were they promoted the start of the season? Was that correct?
Well, So he was part of the side. The under-23 side won the league that he was part of, and then he also won the league with the first team in the second division. So he got two league winners medals, and he won the under-23 domestic trophy. So got himself 3 trophies last season. They got promoted this season for this season, and then they've been fighting it out with the teams at the top, picking up points from the mid-table and the bottom, and he's been involved in some really, really good games. And as I say, they've had a really good season so far. Got a really good manager, a good mix of young and experienced players, and they're doing very well. And he'll be a big miss for them if obviously signs on the dotted line with Wolves and doesn't return on loan or whatever. It will be a big miss for them.
Yeah, I mean, that there has been talk of that. We sort of spoke before we started about a potential loan, and I think, and you sort of agreed with me, if Wolves were to sign him and loan him back, I think Estoril would be the logical place for him to go back on loan to at least until at least the summer, unless Bruno Lage wanted to keep him around this season, which I would love to see him. I think that sort of quality, a player that's got good numbers already this season, would be very useful in and around the Wolves squad. It's not like our attackers this season have been gifted with plenty of goals or assists, whereas he has. I know he's not a guaranteed starter, is he? I think he has had some games where he's come off the bench, but his sort of his goal contributions per night is phenomenal, isn't it, so far this season?
Yeah. As I say, he's, with his age and the way that Estoril as a club have managed them, they will often take him out the team and play him off the bench. And you've got to remember, this is his first season in top flight football, like in Portugal, in anywhere. He's always been primarily an under-23 player or in the second division, but now Estoril in the top flight. So he's experiencing this for the first time, as well as some of his teammates. So the fact that they're doing so well is obviously brilliant. But his numbers, he's doing very well. I think his 3 goals puts him second in their top scorers. They haven't been scoring too many, and they've spread their goals around quite well, to be fair. So there's quite a few players who are on 2 and 3 goals, and then I think the top scorer is maybe on 6 or 7 or something like that. So he's he's had his fair share this season, and I think in terms of that sort of attack and play, I think only Andre Franco has completed more dribbles. He's completed like 20 something dribbles this season, considering his time on the pitch. Again, is very, very good. 3 goals in 9 starts, and he's provided an assist as well. So his end product is there, and it's getting better all the time. I put in the article we put out yesterday or a couple of days ago that's something that will continue to develop, and obviously when he plays, where he plays on the pitch determines what type of game he's going to have, because he's very versatile. So whether he plays on the left or plays on the right, it's like having a completely different player on the pitch. So in terms of his versatility, that's one thing that I think if Bruno Lage does decide to keep him around, it'll be because he can sort of slot into these different positions and do different jobs depending on what formation he goes with. Whether it, obviously goes to, there's a lot of talk at the minute of him playing this 4-4-2 or trying to play something that resembles a little bit more of his style of football, or whether he continues to go sort of with the 5 at the back. He is an option, definitely. The Premier League will obviously be tough for him to adapt at first. We were speaking before, the likes of Pedro Neto had the same issue, and I think Francis Trincao this season is also maybe having that sort of issue. Shows glimpses at times, but haven't really saw the best of him just yet. But yeah, I'm sure.
Well, the main things I think people are going to want to know is his play style. What sort of player is he? What is he good at? And what can he bring to the Wolves team?
So he's a very aggressive attacker in terms of he likes to pick the ball up and he'll drive at players. He's very, very quick. I think that was one of the things that we put in the article, is that I think the quote might have been, when he gets going, there's not many in the league who can keep up with them. And I think sometimes you can get tricked into YouTube clips and stuff, but for those that I think the Wolves fans, the Wolves fans who haven't watched them, who have watched those clips, I can tell you he is that fast, he is that quick. Those the video isn't lying to you. He he's strong. He's surprisingly strong for someone who, I don't know exactly what he weighs, but I'm guessing maybe about 10, 11 stone. He's only about 5'8", 5'9", something like that. But his upper body strength is quite, like, he's good at holding off defenders. I say he's tenacious. His footwork is very quick, so he'll go one way and go the other. I mentioned before about his versatility. You can put him on the right-hand side. He will, more often than not, take it to the byline, beat a man, take it to the byline, and put it across with his favoured right foot. If you play him on the left, then that possibly opens up the opportunity for like a left wing back or a left back to really go down to the byline, because on the left-hand side, he'll always look to come inside. So bring the ball in and then onto his right foot and try and either get a shot off or play it to a teammate. So if you're looking for someone, if the like of Jimenez in the box, he would love to play with him when he's on the right-hand side, putting in crosses, beating the fullback 1v1. On the left-hand side, he does give you that bit more of an attacking threat himself. He will try and get in and, as I say, engineer chances for himself and not just provide. As you can see from his numbers this season, he's got just the 1 assist in the league compared to the three goals, which tells you, that he does like to get shots off. And that's predominantly when he's playing on that left-hand side.
Yeah.
But as I say, he is used to playing with a central striker as well.
Yeah, I've seen him, obviously, over the last year or so, been linked with a couple of Premier League teams before. I think Chelsea and West Ham United have been linked with him. Has there been much talk over in Portugal about him as a player and about his potential? Has he been talked about as one of the next top talents coming from Portugal, or is he not really been spoke about talent at the moment?
No, yeah, definitely. He definitely has. There's one big debate, one big topic in Portugal at the minute is that the big three, Benfica, Porto and Sporting, they're reluctant to maybe buy from the rest of the teams in Portugal. And we're seeing these players completely, what they used to do was move to one of the big three teams and then like move to a bigger club in Europe, or maybe a club with more better finances. But what we're seeing now is these players that they're missing out that jump because maybe if the top three is reluctant, who continue to either want to bring through players through their own academy, or they want to buy from, say, South America or Central America or wherever it may be. Now, in terms of players, like there's lots of talent in that league outside the big three at the moment. So the likes of, say, someone like Marcus Edwards, the fact that he hasn't been snapped up is by one of those big three teams is another point of the conversation of why is there so many players who are playing for the teams who rank maybe 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th and even lower down that haven't been snapped up, that are eventually moving to clubs around Europe or moving to clubs in Asia or wherever it may be. He just looks like he's going to be another example of that, and supporters of those clubs are asking the question, especially on social media or in the club fan forums, of why aren't we doing what we used to do and getting the talent from those clubs? And we're missing out, basically. We're missing out. We're then having to take chances on unproven players from, say, South America, when someone playing for Vitoria or Estoril or Gil Vicente or whoever it may be may have the exact same level of quality, but they're kind of being missed out. And next week, I think on Proxima Jornada, this isn't a plug, this is just because you asked. In terms of the players who are coming out, the talents, we've got him on our list of, we've done a list of 22 players under the age of 22 to look out for in 2022. And he's on our list. Yeah, I think he came in at 9th or 10th in the league.
Oh, okay.
So, and that's including the players who are playing for Benfica, Porto, Braga, Sporting as well. So to come in at such a high position with the likes of Vitinha, Fabio Vieira, Gonçalo Ramos, all those players who are playing for the big clubs, just shows you the level of quality that he has got. And that was we produced that before he was actually linked to Wolves, so that's not just recency bias.
What do you think then, to the Premier League? Is this too early a jump for him? I mean, I think we both know he's not going to just get thrown into the deep end and start every game between now and the end of the season. But is this too early of a jump for him? Is he going to be good enough to play Premier League football in the future, do you think?
I do think he'll be good enough to play in the Premier League. But in terms of adaptation, I think Wolves have just got to be smart with it. So if there's one thing that we know about Chiquinho so far, is that he's able to take that jump. If you look at his numbers this season, they're actually better in the Premier League than they were in the Segunda Liga. So with the new challenge, he's getting better. So you think that type of player who, obviously the gap between the Premier League and England is big. But if he's able to continue to work hard and think, right, I've got a new task, these are the things that I need to learn, these are the things that I need to improve on. And he can do that whilst playing with, some top players at Wolves. He'll be playing with a better standard of player. He'll be playing, with a coaching staff. He'll be playing for a club which have got better facilities, playing. And then you look at the opposition each week, no matter who you play in the Premier League, especially fullbacks in the Premier League at the moment. There's some top players in the Prem. So that'll help him. That'll help him mature. That'll help him develop. He won't be playing every single week, and he won't start lighting it up with goals and assists straight away. I'd be made up if he did, but football usually it doesn't work like that. Sometimes you've got to, if you look at Fabio Silva in his first season, obviously a different type of player, a very difficult task in playing as a number 9. But when the injury happened to Jimenez and he was sort of thrown in, at time, it was a bit like, the headlights, like stuck in the headlights and caught in the headlights. Whereas now that he's had a little bit of time away from the first team and he's been able to physically develop and he's got himself in the gym, he looks bigger, he looks a lot more aware when he's on the pitch, his link-up plays better. That's just that time out of the spotlight to be able to play with the likes of Daniel Podence, Ruben Neves, João Moutinho, all these players who can pull him aside and say, try and do this, try and do that. And I think the same thing for Chiquinho as well. Wolves looks a good place to be at the minute for a young player who is developing. And I definitely think that given time, he will be able to feature in that starting 11. If Bruno Lage didn't think he had it, then he wouldn't sign him. It'd just be a waste of time. So I think Lage's eye for talent is brilliant. His time working with the Benfica youth side and seeing those players now who are seeing sort of flourishing at Benfica and around Europe. He knows when there's a player there. So if he's interested in Chiquinho, which it sounds like he is, and that deal will be done shortly, then trust him. I think trust him because he's a manager, a coach with one of the best eyes for talent that came out of Portugal in recent times, definitely.
And I think the fee, the reported fee is about 3.5 million, could go up to £5 million.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a fair amount of money for a talent of that quality?
Yeah, I think, and it's €3.5 million. So it'll be even less than that, and then there's €1.5 million in objectives and add-ons if Pedro is to correct, which he usually is. It's, I mean, for the Premier League side, it's not a lot of money. For Estoril to receive, it's brilliant.
Will it be their record fee? I think.
I'm not too sure, to be honest, but to be honest, they've had some good players come through there over the years, but I'd have to check on that. It's a good question.
I know. I think in Record and Arbola they said it was a record, but I couldn't. I had a quick look. I couldn't find it anywhere. But it's a decent amount of money in it anyway, isn't it? Regardless.
Yeah, for them,
a team outside that top three. Yeah.
And as I say, for Wolves, it's not a signing that's going to completely break the bank. I mean, obviously eyebrows were raised. Eyebrows are going to be raised whenever the club spends big, i.e., to go back to the Fabio Silva deal. This is a tiny fraction of the finances. So I think it's a win. It's a win-win really. And if he does develop but doesn't quite cut it, then he's still got a high ceiling to go and play somewhere else in Europe and get the money back. So it's a good deal. I think 21 years old, talented. He's got a high ceiling. He's got good experience. He's played, quite a few senior games at the moment. He's good in front of goal. So yeah, I don't see any negatives to the deal, to be honest.
Good. Well, I'm hoping that we can sign him, and we do see it. I just want to see him. One of the videos I watched, he got in front of the goalkeeper, did a step over and scooped it over the goalkeeper's head. So if he can do that sort of thing in the Premier League, mate, I'll get his name on the back of a shirt or anything. So
that was unbelievable. Yeah.
There's some of those on the YouTube clips. Even his cross looks all right, to be fair, from the right hand side. He's got a bit of a whip on him, to be fair.
His set pieces are underrated. His free kicks are brilliant, and he varies them as well. There's a couple. I think it was in that game against Maritimo, the same game where he done the step over and was like floated into the top corner. There's another one where he puts it like along the floor. He's got good whip. He can float crosses. So yeah, he has got good delivery on him. And again, that's something that'll continue to improve. And when he's on the, if he comes to Wolves and he's training with those players that we see at Wolves, you've got, great delivery. I'm sure they'll be able to give him a few pointers as well.
Yeah, well, Aaron, thank you very much for jumping on the channel. I'll make sure I leave a link to Aaron's article on Chiquinho in the description as well, if you want to give that a read. And as always, man, thank you for jumping on Talking Wolves, and we'll see you soon.
No worries. Thank you for having me. Bye.
So once again, a big thanks to Aaron for his help on today's video. I'll be sure to leave a link to his article and his Twitter page in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, let me know your thoughts on this signing down below. Hopefully starts a bit more of a domino effect if we see Wolves bringing in one or two more players. Of course, at this time, we don't know if Chiquinho is going to be a replacement for a player, but I'm hoping that he's going to be someone that can come into this squad, bolster it, and add us something a little bit different between now and the end of the season. As always, guys, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you all very, very soon.